Let me tell you something, life doesn't lie. When you ask God for truth, He won't just show you light, He'll expose the darkness. Not to break you, but to free you. Because sometimes protection comes disguised as pain. When you pray for clarity, you're not simply asking for comfort or direction. You're asking God to show you the truth, even if that truth is hard to face. You're asking for vision, for insight, for the ability to see beyond what's visible on the surface. And when God answers that kind of prayer, He doesn't hold back. He reveals, He exposes, He strips away the illusions, the performances, the masks that people wear so well. He shows you who's real and who's been pretending. Because if you're gonna walk in purpose, you cannot be surrounded by people who were only meant to be part of your preparation, not your destination. God's truth doesn't always come gently. Sometimes it crashes into your life like a storm, leaving behind the pieces of what you thought was real. And that's the hard part, isn't it? That the people you laughed with, cried with, trusted, may not have been who they claimed to be. But that's not God being cruel, that's God being kind. Because He knows what you don't. He hears conversations you were never a part of. He sees intentions buried deep in the heart. And when you pray, Lord, guide me, He says, okay, but I must show you who's not really for you. You may be surprised at who gets revealed. It might be the friend you've known for years, the family member you've leaned on, the partner you believed was walking with you, but when the light comes on, it becomes clear some were only walking next to you, not with you. They smiled, but their loyalty was conditional. They cheered, but only when you stayed small. They stayed close, but only because they were feeding off your energy, your progress, your kindness. God doesn't allow that to go on forever. When your purpose starts to demand your full attention, He begins to separate what cannot grow with you. Clarity is a gift, but it's a painful one. It asks you to let go of what you wanted to believe and embrace what is. It requires you to trust that God's exposure is never meant to embarrass you. It's meant to protect you. Because if you don't know who's real, you'll keep building your life on shaky ground. And God loves you too much to let that happen. He knows your heart, He knows your potential, and He knows that for you to step fully into what He's called you to, there must be truth, authenticity, alignment. So when God starts removing people, understand it's not rejection, it's redirection. When He begins to reveal their true nature, don't resist it, receive it. Because it means He's clearing your path. He's making space for something real. And the truth, as painful as it is, will always set you free. Let the light in, even if it hurts. Because in that light, there's freedom, peace, and everything God has prepared for you. Clarity comes with pain because truth is rarely soft. It cuts through the illusions we build around people we loved and trusted. When you finally see someone for who they truly are, not who you hoped they were, it creates a wound that goes deep. It's not just disappointment, it's a kind of heartbreak that shakes the very foundation of your beliefs. You wonder how you missed the signs. You question yourself, your judgment, your intuition, even your worth. And that's the part that hurts the most, realizing that someone you gave your heart to never truly gave theirs back. That the connection you valued was for them just a convenience. But here's the reality, that pain is a signal of growth. It means your eyes are opening. It means you're no longer willing to live in denial. It means you're waking up from the fantasy that everyone close to you is for you. And as harsh as that awakening is, it's necessary, because clarity isn't just about seeing others clearly, it's about seeing yourself. Seeing how you've allowed certain behaviors to slide. Seeing how you've given too many chances, excused too many red flags, and stayed too long in places you outgrew long ago. The pain doesn't come just from betrayal. It comes from the realization that you betrayed yourself by ignoring what you knew deep down. Clarity forces you to make choices. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't keep pretending someone is loyal when their actions scream otherwise. You can't keep holding on to what was never real. And walking away from something you were emotionally invested in is painful. It feels like tearing a part of yourself away. But in truth, you're not losing anything that was meant for you. You're letting go of what was sent to teach you, to shape you, to strengthen you. The pain of clarity is temporary, but the damage of staying blind is lasting. What you gain from this kind of clarity is invaluable. You start to move differently. You become more intentional with your energy, your time, your love. You stop trying to fix people who never wanted healing. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You begin to respect your own boundaries. You learn to trust your discernment more, and slowly, that pain that once felt like a burden begins to turn into wisdom, into peace, into power. It's easy to wish you never saw the truth, to wish you could go back to before the pain. But in doing so, you'd have to go back to living in illusion. And no matter how comfortable it wasn't real. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort of lies. It happens in the fire of truth. Clarity may hurt, but it also heals. It breaks you free, and one day you look back at the moment that shattered you and realize it didn't destroy. It woke you up, it set you free, and it led you to everything real. Not everyone standing next to you is truly with you. It's a painful truth, but one that becomes more evident as you grow. Just because someone is close in distance doesn't mean they're aligned in spirit. Proximity can be deceiving. There are people who will laugh with you, celebrate your wins, and act like they care, all while quietly resenting your progress. They are not there to support your journey. They are there to benefit from it. These are the ones who show up when things are easy, when the spotlight is on, when the rewards are flowing. But the moment things get difficult, the moment you truly need someone by your side, they vanish. You can't measure loyalty by presence alone. True loyalty is revealed when it costs something to stay. When being by your side offers no benefit, no spotlight, no recognition, that's when you see who's really for you. Some people are in your life for the wrong reasons. They stick around not because they love you, but because they need you. Your energy, your resources, your connection, it serves them. And as long as it does, they're present. But the second you set boundaries, the moment you stop pouring into them without return, their true colors begin to show. It's a hard lesson to learn, especially when the ones who aren't truly with you are people you cared about deeply, people you confided in, people you thought were permanent parts of your life. But the truth is, God allows these moments to show you who's who. He reveals the intentions behind the smiles, the loyalty behind the words, and the purpose behind each relationship. And when He does, it can be heartbreaking. You start to realize that some of the people you trusted the most were only ever present out of convenience. They were never committed to you, only to what you could offer them. There's a deep peace that comes from this understanding, even if it takes time to feel it. Because once you stop expecting loyalty from the wrong people, you stop being disappointed. You stop giving your energy to those who are only there to take. You begin to protect your space. You learn to discern who's truly in your corner and who's just standing in your circle, and that kind of clarity changes everything. Eventually, you become more selective with your time. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to prove yourself to people who never had your back in the first place. You let their absence be the closure. You stop holding space for those who wouldn't do the same for you, and in doing so you make room for real connections. Ones built on trust, not transaction, on mutual respect, not manipulation, on genuine love, not hidden agendas. When people start to fall away, don't fight it. Let them. Their departure is just as revealing as their presence ever was, because not everyone standing next to you is truly with you. And that's okay. The ones who are meant to walk with you will never need convincing. They'll be there. not for what they can gain, but because they believe in who you are. And that's the kind of presence you deserve. God's exposure is never about punishment, it's about protection. When He reveals someone's true intentions, when He starts to remove people from your life, it can feel like betrayal, like loss, like your world is falling apart. But what you don't always see in the moment is that God is not trying to break you, He's trying to save you. He's pulling you out of relationships and situations that would have caused you far greater pain if they continued. He's uncovering what was hidden, not to hurt you, but to keep you from being hurt worse down the road. You may not understand why certain people walk away, why some connections suddenly fall apart, or why individuals you once depended on turn cold. It feels personal, it feels like rejection, but in reality it's divine intervention. God sees what you cannot. He hears conversations you were never present for, sees motives you'd never guess, and knows the intentions people carry deep in their hearts. And when you pray for guidance, when you ask Him to lead you, He answers, not just by showing you the path forward, but by removing what doesn't belong on it. So it's easy to get attached to people, especially when we've invested time, energy, and love. We want to believe the best in them. We want to hold on to what once felt safe or meaningful. But sometimes what we're holding on to is the very thing holding us back. God, in His mercy, steps in and begins to shake those things loose. It might feel like everything is crumbling, but really, He's just tearing down what was never meant to last so He can build something better on a more solid foundation. This process can be painful, there's no denying that. It can feel like your heart is being ripped open. You mourn what was. You question why it had to end this way. But later, as time passes, you begin to see why it had to happen. You start to realize that if certain people had stayed in your life, they would have continued to drain your energy, distract you from your purpose, or derail your peace. Their presence, while familiar, was never meant to be permanent. And God loved you too much to let them keep a front row seat in your life. God's exposure is not meant to shame you or embarrass them. It's meant to wake you up. It's His way of whispering, you deserve more, you deserve better, trust me. And when you do, when you surrender and let Him remove what was never meant for you, you make room for what is, for real love, for genuine support, for peace that doesn't come and go with someone else's mood. You step into alignment with what God truly has for your life. The next time someone's true colors come to light, don't be bitter, be grateful. It's not a loss, it's a rescue. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not the end, it's the beginning of something protected, something blessed, and something beautifully aligned with your destiny. Trust that when God exposes, He's also covering you, shielding you, and setting you up for something far greater than what you thought you were losing. Letting go creates space for real blessings. It's one of the hardest truths to accept, yet one of the most powerful when fully embraced. You cannot hold on to what's fake, broken, or false and expect to receive what's real, whole, and divine. God does not pour new wine into old wineskins. He doesn't bring fresh opportunities into cluttered spaces. If your hands are full of what was never meant for you, how will you receive what He has prepared? Letting go is not loss, it's preparation. It's how you clear the path for what's aligned with your purpose. Often we cling to relationships that once felt meaningful even when they've expired. We hold on to friendships that have turned toxic, to partnerships rooted in fear, or to connections that have become one-sided. We keep trying to revive what God is trying to remove. Why? Because it's familiar, because it's comfortable, because we're afraid of the void that might come after. But here's what we forget. That void is where the blessing enters. That space, though empty at first, is sacred ground for transformation, healing, and divine replacement. God doesn't ask you to let go just to leave you empty. He asks you to release what's false so He can fill you with what's true. The people He removes, the situations He ends, the doors He closes, these are all His way of making room. But if you resist, if you insist on dragging that weight into your destiny, you delay the very blessings you've been praying for. God doesn't bless confusion, He blesses clarity. And sometimes clarity only comes when you walk away from what no longer serves your spirit. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of faith. It's choosing to trust that what God has ahead is better than what you're leaving behind. It's believing that the pain of release is temporary, but the blessings that follow are eternal. And yes, it hurts. It hurts to walk away from someone you once loved. It hurts to admit that something isn't working. It hurts to close a chapter you hope would last forever. But God doesn't call you to hold on to what hurts just because it once made you happy. In the space that letting go creates, God plants new seeds of joy, of peace, of true connection. You start attracting people who love you for who you are, not what you can offer. You begin to feel lighter, freer, more at peace. You stop trying to force things and start letting things flow. You make space for authenticity. Relationships built on mutual respect, honesty, and divine alignment. If you're being nudged to let go, don't resist it, trust it. That pull in your spirit is God preparing you. The exposure you're experiencing isn't to break you. It's to make room for blessings that are real, lasting, and meant for you. Release the counterfeit and receive the divine. Let go and let God do what only He can. Bless you beyond what you thought was possible. Pain leads to transformation. It doesn't come into your life to destroy you, it comes to shape you. When we go through hardship, we often ask, why me? We feel like we're being punished, like we've been forgotten or abandoned. But pain is not punishment. It's the refining fire that burns away what no longer belongs in your life. It forces you to grow in ways comfort never could. It reveals your resilience, your strength, your grit, and most importantly, it draws you closer to the version of yourself that God intended all along. Transformation is not born in easy seasons, it's birthed in struggle. It's formed in the midnight hours when everything feels like it's falling apart. Pain has a way of breaking down your defenses, peeling back the layers and confronting you with truth. Truth about who you are, what you believe, and where you're going. It strips away your pride, your distractions, and the illusion of control. And though it feels unbearable in the moment, it's doing something powerful beneath the surface. It's building character, it's reshaping your mindset, it's making you wiser, more compassionate, more grounded. You begin to discover strength you didn't know you had. You begin to rely on God in a way you never had to before. The tears you cry in private become the water that grows your faith. The isolation you feel becomes the place where God speaks most clearly. And the broken pieces you're left holding become the materials He uses to build something brand new. Pain does not signal the end of your story. It marks the beginning of a deeper, more meaningful chapter. We resist pain because it hurts, it's uncomfortable, it demands surrender. But nothing meaningful grows without discomfort. A seed must break before it can sprout. A muscle must be stretched before it can gain strength. And the heart must be tested before it can truly love and trust. Every painful moment you endure is an opportunity for transformation. Not just a change in circumstances, but a shift in your soul, a growth in your spirit that lasts far beyond the moment. Eventually you look back at the painful seasons of your life and see them for what they were: sacred ground, places of deep refinement, moments that forced you to rise. You'll realize that the pain didn't come to break you, it came to rebuild you from the inside out. It taught you boundaries, it gave you wisdom, it helped you see what really matters, and most of all, it led you to the feet of God, where healing truly begins. When pain enters your life, don't run from it. Lean into it. Ask God what He's trying to show you, what He's trying to free you from, what He's building inside of you. Because pain, when surrendered to God, always produces purpose. It transforms you not just into a stronger version of yourself, but into the person He created you to be all along. Everything you've faced, every betrayal, every revelation, every painful moment of letting go, wasn't meant to destroy you, it was meant to wake you up. God doesn't expose to embarrass, He exposes to protect. He doesn't remove to punish, He removes to prepare. Each time He showed you the truth about someone, He was answering your prayer for peace, for clarity, for something real. And yes, it hurt, but that pain was never wasted. It refined you, it strengthened you, it shaped your character and revealed your worth. Not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it by your side. And that's okay, let them go. Release the weight, make room. Because what God has for you, authentic relationships, divine assignments, peace that stays, and joy that overflows, requires space. You can't walk in your purpose while dragging people who were only meant to be lessons. So trust the exposure, trust the process, trust the pain. Because when God reveals, He also heals. And when He removes, He always replaces with something better, stronger, and far more aligned with who you're becoming. You were never being rejected. You were being redirected. And now, you're ready, not just to survive, but to rise.